We're here with Sister Jean Ann Zappa. She's the development coordinator for Shively Ministries, and she's going to help talk about our service project. We're focusing on the Catholic social teaching of option for the poor and vulnerable. So she's going to talk a little bit with us today.
Thank you. My role here, first of all, at Shively Ministries is to help raise awareness to the mission and to invite many people, specifically donors, to support the mission by giving the money to help with our services. Shively Area Ministries has been around for 23 years. In 2013 we celebrate 25 years. And it was founded by a few pastors that were, first of all, helping in their particular area, helping people with the food pantry. And they decided, why don't we do this together instead of this church doing one thing and another church doing another thing. So presently we have 26 churches that support us. And Shively Area Ministries covers the 40216 zip code, and that goes as far as Cane Run Road, and it goes down the other way as far as Algonquin Parkway. There are about 39,000 people in the Shively area. That was from the 2000 census, and we don't know the 2010 census yet. Of the 39,000 people, we served 19,000 people this past year. We've had an increase of numbers of helping people with their electric bill, with rent, and with food, mainly because of the hard economic times at this time. So is that a good beginning? What else would you like to say?
Who are the main people that you help? Who do you see in here most often?
Okay. We're experiencing what we call situational poverty and generational poverty. Generational poverty are people who have been poor, struggling all their lives, maybe because they had a disability, or maybe because they had an injury at work and they lost their benefits, or maybe because they are a single parent, they had a divorce, someone walked out on them, or we've had single parents, or we've also had, I would say, this situational poverty, the generational poverty is also men or women who are seniors. Their spouses died, and they're on a fixed income. Then we have what we call situational poverty, which is because of the economic times. We have people who've had to ask help for the first time in their life. Example, we had a woman who was a dental hygienist for 11 years and got laid off, and all of a sudden she has no income. We had another woman who had 3 children, who worked at, she was a single parent, who was doing fine. She worked at University of Louisville 5 days a week, and her job got cut back to 3 days or 2 days. So therefore, her income wasn't as good as it was. We're finding people who've been unemployed for 6 months to a year right now, and all their benefits have run out, and so they're desperate. So we're finding that we're having what I call the new face of the poor. So we have generational poverty, people either because of lack of education or because of circumstances, family issues, have always been struggling with poverty. And then we have what we call the new face of the poor, the situational poverty.
Can you briefly describe how you help these people, like what services you give to them?
Okay. We have 5 different services. Our first service, which is our biggest service, is the food pantry. And we are a Dare to Care distribution site, and we can get we get commodities and Dare to Care food once a month. We also have all the churches and Boy Scouts and schools like your school that give us canned food donations. So we save that when we have when our supplement is low. The other thing we do besides the food pantry, once a year we help a person with rent or utilities. And why we say only once a year is because we don't want to get the person dependent on the program. We want to help them in their situation. We want to help them get back on their feet. We want to help them in transition. We always say we're a hand up, not a hand out. That we try to stabilize a person for a month so that they can get back on their feet, so they don't get back further, that they can get ahead. And so once a year we help them either with utilities or rental assistance. And we don't give them full amount of money. Like if they owe $400 because they're back on their pay of their rent, we work with the landlord, and then we give them a percentage of it or a portion of it. They have to get the rest of the money themselves because we don't want to make a person dependent. We also want to empower the client. So we want to say, what happened in your situation? How did this happen? How can we help you avoid this the next month? We'll give you X amount of money if you can get the rest of the money. And we do the same thing with LG&E. We work with the LG&E company or the water company, and they help us to work with the person. The other, then we also give medication once a year. We get a grant from St. Mary's Jewish Hospital, and we help people with medication, help them with their prescription. We also have a grant through Jewish St. Mary's for Meals on Wheels program. We have 35 people who receive Meals on Wheels, and they have to be, they have no family, they can't cook for themselves, and they live alone. That's the requirements. And then our fifth program is we do counseling, and we do that off-site. And so if a person is struggling with their daily problems and they are stressed out, we provide counseling for them through a grant. Also, they have 6 sessions through a sliding scale, and then they get goal setting to help them to get through their situation. The other thing we have is a volunteer-based program. We have over 140 volunteers that help us. Because we're a nonprofit, we don't make a lot of money. All of our money, majority of our money goes for either administration costs, which is only about 24%, but the majority of our money, 75%, 76%, goes directly to the clients. And if we didn't have the volunteers, we could not do all this work we do. So we have 140 volunteers that provide services on the front desk. They help see the clients, they deliver Meals on Wheels, and they work in the food pantry.
How did you get involved with Shively? What called you to come here?
Well, 10 years ago, I worked at Shively Ministries. I was working with a senior group, and I just was appreciative of the nonprofit, mission-driven organization that they were, and I was attracted to that, so I worked part-time when I was in leadership with the Ursuline Sisters. And then 2 years ago, I was finishing my term in leadership, and I was looking for a new ministry, and Roxana Trivet, our director, had met with me and said that they had a position that they were looking at for development. And most people see development as raising money or asking people for money, and I'll say, I never can do that. I don't see it as asking people for money. I see development as asking people to be a participant in supporting and what would I say? Supporting and sustaining the mission for this wonderful organization. So first of all, what drew me to it was the mission to help other people, because it's very gospel-based, based on Matthew 25. When I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was naked, did you clothe me? Did you help me when I was in prison? So this mission is based on Matthew 25. So that attracted me. What also attracted me was the people who work here, just fine people, and I'm really glad that I'm here. Our mission is very clear. We say we respond to persons in poverty or in crisis in the name of Jesus, in the Spirit of Christ. So our mission is very clear. And I'm so convinced of that mission, like I said, it's so gospel-based, that it's easy to tell other people about the mission and invite people to support the mission and help sustain it.
What would be the best way for a regular person to volunteer and help here?
Okay, we have 4 ways you can volunteer. Meals on Wheels. You can deliver Meals on Wheels once a week or once a month, and it's usually from 4:30 to 6. You go pick up the meals and then deliver it to 3 or 4 or 5 people. We have people who work in the food pantry, and we've had some volunteers from Holy Cross last year. And I just got notice about volunteers again this year, juniors coming hopefully. You can serve by delivering commodities to the elderly once a month. You can serve by working at the front desk to be a greeter, or you can serve by helping people with financial aid. So there are various ways in which the volunteers. Our biggest volunteer base is the food pantry and the Meals on Wheels.
Well, thank you for your time today. Thank you for letting us interview you.
My pleasure. Thank you.